everybody. Welcome to Cycles of Time podcast. I'm going to tell you a little story about the archetype of the crab as told by the micro seasons of the ancient I Ching, which has been transliterated into the systems of human design and the gene keys. So I'll be pulling information in from the I Ching, from human design and the gene keys as it relates to the 6 human design gates that are in Cancer season. In human design, the mandala, the Fuxi sequence of the I Ching, is placed around the zodiac, starting with gate 25 in the beginning of Aries season and carrying all the way around to gate 36 at the end of Pisces season. So each zodiac sign contains 6 human design gates. Some of them are on the cusp between the 2 different signs, but there are 6 human design gates within each zodiac season. And what I've learned over my process of studying this information, these materials from these ancient cultures, is that these gates tell a story. When they're put in order, they tell a story arc about the evolution of that archetype. And it's been really fascinating to look at it through that perspective. I've done the 6 human design gates of Aries season, Taurus season, Gemini season, and now here we are at the summer solstice in Cancer season. So I welcome you to just let this information wash over you. There's a lot of different words, a lot of different adjectives and descriptors that come from these different systems, but they're all interrelated and they really tell a beautiful story. So as the sun moves through Cancer, the crab awakens, keeper of tides, memory, and the moonlit path inward. With a shell that guards and a heart that feels, it moves sideways through time, touching the past to anchor the present. Through the lenses of human design, the I Ching, and the gene keys, we journey with this lunar guide through the 6 gates of Cancer season, each one a vessel for nurturing, protection, and the deep intelligence of emotional truth. We begin the first gate of Cancer season with gate 15. This is from June 20th to 25th this year, and so it is a gate that spans between the end of Gemini season and the beginning of Cancer season. In the I Ching, 15 is known as modesty or humility, and it's known by the trigrams earth over mountain. In human design, it's known as the gate of extremes. And in the gene keys, it moves from the shadow of dullness to the gift of magnetism to the city of fluorescence. And here's the story. At the summer solstice, when the air thickens with memory, the crab is born. In the heat of the solstice sun, the crab does not buzz about like the twins. It curls inward, drawn by something ancient and unseen. One claw reaches for safety, the other for connection. It carries its home upon its back, learning to belong by returning to itself. Its world begins with the contradiction of extremes. This is gate 15, where polarities live side by side. Dark and light, within and without, solitude and togetherness, stillness and wild rhythm. It's not linear, it's lunar. It's life swelling and retreating like the tides, and the phases of the moon that rule it. At first, the crab moves erratically, caught between needing to emerge and needing to hide. It gives too much or not at all. In the gene keys, this is the shadow of dullness, a flatness born from losing one's rhythm, dimming one's inner light to survive the world's chaos. But in this complexity, something stirs. It's the natural rhythm of the crab's heart, beating steadily amongst the changing world. Over time, the crab learns that care cannot be forced. Like the moon's pull on the sea, it becomes attuned to timing. The gift of magnetism emerges, a gravity that draws others not through effort but through authenticity. At its highest frequency, this gate becomes fluorescence, the radiant glow of life in full bloom, thriving in its right place at the right pace. In the I Ching, this is known as modesty, earth over mountain, or humility. This evokes the strength that underlies softness, which is very captured by earth over mountain, the softness of the earth over the stillness and strength of the mountain. The crab begins to understand its wisdom in compassion, not always knowing what to do, but being willing to feel the ups and downs, the ins and outs. It becomes the tide, embracing, retreating, returning, a rhythm that holds the world at the summer solstice. Moving on to gate 2 of Cancer season, it is gate 52, the still point, from June 26th to 30th this year. In the I Ching, it's known as keeping still or mountain over mountain. It's a double trigram where there are 2 mountain trigrams to complete the hexagram of keeping still. In Human Design, it's known as the gate of stillness. And in the gene keys, it moves from the shadow of stress to the gift of restraint to the city of stillness. So stillness is included in all of those interpretations. Right after the solstice at the height of summer, when the sun lingers long and the world is full of motion, the crab pauses. Though the tides call and the warmth invites movement, the crab knows there is wisdom in waiting, in staying still. Beneath its shell, it listens for the subtle rhythm beneath activity. This is gate 52, the still point in a season of momentum. Stillness is not the absence of life. For the crab, it is protection, restoration, and preparation. In a world that celebrates constant doing, this gate offers another way of being. It teaches how to anchor the body so that the soul can stay intact. At first, the stillness can feel like pressure without outlet, especially after coming out of a buzzy Gemini season. The root center, where gate 52 lives in Human Design, creates a primal urgency, a need to act and react. Without direction, this pressure becomes stress, the shadow in the gene keys. It can tighten the body, lock the breath, or lead to collapse. The crab may retreat too far into its shell, feeling trapped between urge and inaction. But over time, something stabilizes. The crab doesn't run from the pressure, it learns to sit with it. And in that stillness, clarity returns. It's like the dust settling, or the sand settling on the seafloor after a big wave. The gift of restraint emerges, which is the ability to hold energy without reacting, to wait until the movement has meaning. At its highest expression, the city level, this energy is stillness. Like the mountain in the I Ching's image, one atop another or side by side, it holds firm without effort. This stillness nourishes, restoring nervous systems, bringing presence to decisions, and creating space for real insight to emerge. The young crab in this evolution teaches us that wisdom often grows in quiet. It reminds us that not all movement is visible. Some of the most important shifts happen internally when we stop long enough to feel where we are. Before reaching for the next tide, the crab rests against the earth, just listening, waiting until it knows which direction truly leads home. The third gate that's within Cancer season is gate 39, known as Provocation, and I see it as Provocation as a catalyst. This gate this year is, the sun is transiting through it between July 1st and 6th, and in the I Ching it's known as Obstruction, water over mountain. In Human Design, it's known as the gate of Provocation, and in the gene keys, it moves from the shadow of provocation to the gift of dynamism to the city of liberation. Not all thresholds are quiet. Some appear as tension, conflict, or a sudden surge that breaks the surface. And gate 39 marks one of these thresholds. For the crab, in his evolution, this is where the soft underbelly of feeling meets the sharp edge of the world. By nature, the crab is protective. It holds its sensitivity close, reading the room before offering its heart. But gate 39 doesn't allow for that kind of caution. It disrupts the quiet. It presses on sore spots, stirs emotions, and provokes reaction. This is the gate of emotional friction. In the gene keys, its shadow is provocation, the instinct to poke, prod, or push, especially when we're vulnerable. The crab, when startled or overwhelmed, might lash out or withdraw with its big claws, unsure how to express what it truly needs. But every provocation is a signal that something deeper is asking to be felt. Over time, the crab begins to sense the difference between reaction and response. It stops defending out of habit. It starts listening to the charge beneath the conflict. From here, the gift of dynamism emerges. This is the creative force born from emotional pressure. Like waves crashing on stone, the tension becomes movement, erosion. Something stuck begins to shift. Eventually, the energy refines even further. The crab doesn't just survive the emotional tide, it channels it. At its highest, gate 39 becomes liberation, freedom born from integration. The crab no longer fears its sensitivity, it recognizes it as a compass. Emotional truth becomes the current it rides, not the trap it avoids. In the I Ching, gate 39 is known as obstruction, water over mountain. The image is one of pressure building until it finds a path. In human design, this gate lives in the root center, and it's tied to emotional impulse and survival instinct. But when it matures, it becomes a source of power rather than pain. The crab evolves by staying with the discomfort of provocation long enough to find out what lives underneath it. Gate 39 teaches that tension is not the enemy, but rather the beginning of clarity. Every challenge holds a message, and every reaction can become a doorway if we choose to open it. The fourth gate of Cancer season is gate 53, the pressure to begin, and this is from July 7th through 12th this year. In the I Ching, 53 is known as development or wind over mountain. In human design, it's known as the gate of beginnings. And in the gene keys, it moves from the shadow of immaturity to the gift of expansion, to the city of superabundance. At the threshold of something new, the crab hesitates. It does so because it remembers how beginnings often end, with tides that shift, foundations that crumble, and shells that must be outgrown. And despite all that, life insists. The tide comes in and the world changes shape. This is the gate of beginnings. In the I Ching, it is known as development, wind over mountain. Development is the steady influence that shapes stone with persistence, like wind blowing across stone. In human design, it lives in the root center as well, where pressure rises like sap in spring, pushing life towards growth, whether it's ready or not. For the crab, this gate is both invitation and challenge. At first, its instinct may be to stay close to the familiar and to protect what is already known. The gene keys describe the shadow of immaturity here in its reluctance to commit fully to the path ahead. The crab may start something, then pull back. It senses the weight of the journey and doubts its ability to see it through. But every new tide shapes the shore. Slowly, the crab begins to trust the momentum within. It learns that not every beginning has to be perfect. What matters is staying present through the unfolding. From this steadiness, the gift of expansion emerges. The crab's world gets bigger because it grows strong enough to hold more. Eventually, this gate reaches its highest expression of superabundance, a life that ripens because it has been tended to. This is a foundation that supports others because it was built with care. The crab becomes a steward of new life, a being who initiates cycles not just for itself, but for the collective. It doesn't abandon its shell, it grows into a new one. The gate of beginnings is definitely a hermit crab gate. Moving on to the fifth gate of Cancer season, the final full gate of Cancer season before we move into the cusp gate between Cancer and Leo. This is gate 62, the logic of details. And it is from July 13th to 18th this year being activated by the sun's transit. In the I Ching, gate 62 is known as preponderance of the small or thunder over mountain. And in human design, it is the gate of details. In gene keys, it goes from the shadow of the intellect to the gift of precision to the city of impeccability. So 62. At a certain point in the crab's journey, the vastness of feeling must take form. Emotions, memories, and instincts cannot remain tides forever. They need shape, and gate 62 brings this refinement. It is the gate of naming, of translating the invisible into language, and of grounding intuition through precision. In the I Ching, this is known as preponderance of the small. It teaches that truth often lives in the details, in the quiet substructures that hold meaning together. In human design, gate 62 lives in the throat center and speaks logic into the world. For the crab, this detail-orientedness is an act of care. To organize and to articulate, to bring order to feeling is not about control, but about making life intelligible. In its shadow, this gate can lose its way in data. The Gene Keys describes this as the frequency of intellect, where analysis replaces understanding and language becomes a barrier instead of a bridge. The crab, when it's caught here, could over-explain to avoid vulnerability or reduce complexity to stay safe. But growth comes when the structure serves the soul, not the other way around. Through patience, the crab begins to use language as a healing tool instead of a tool of avoidance. This gift of precision emerges, which is really a sense of clarity rooted in care. Eventually, at the city level, this becomes impeccability, a state where words align with truth and each expression carries weight. Be impeccable with your word. In this form, Gate 62 allows the crab to bring emotional wisdom into collective systems and offers a framework for others to access that truth within feeling. This gate reminds us that expression is an act of service. It asks the crab not only to feel deeply, but to articulate that depth in ways that others can understand and trust through the details. And Gate 62 is the last. The I Ching has 64 gates altogether, and 1 and 2 are kind of known as the preamble, and 63 and 64 are kind of the epilogue, the afterthought. They're about kind of looking forward to what will happen in the next cycle. And so 62 I've heard described as the glossary or like the index, where all of the information and all of the data from the whole rest of the cycle is included in Gate 62. So it's about being able to feel emotionally into that entirety of all of the data that's collected and all of the words and all of the symbolism and all of the meaning that's within this entire system and put it into emotional context. So it's a really powerful gate. 62. Then we move on to Cancer Gate 6, which is Gate 56. And it is on the Cancer-Leo cusp between July 19th and 24th this year. It's called the Storyteller's Flame. In the I Ching, it's known as the Wanderer or Fire Over Mountain. In Human Design, it's the Gate of Stimulation. And in Gene Keys, it moves from the shadow of distraction to the gift of enrichment to the city of intoxication. Gate 56. As the crab begins to emerge from its shell of memory and stillness, it carries stories. They rise from deep waters, shaped by emotion, place, time, and details. Gate 56 is where those stories take flight. It's the gate of the wanderer, the traveler, the storyteller who transforms lived experience into meaning, offering it to others as nourishment and spark. In the I Ching, this is the wanderer known as Fire Over Mountain, which evokes an image of movement, bringing light and bringing heat to new places. In Human Design, Gate 56 lives in the throat center and carries the voice of stimulation. It's the ability to speak from experience, not only to inform, but to ignite curiosity, insight, and reflection in those who will listen. At first, the crab may speak to be heard, to fill silence, to mask uncertainty. The Gene Keys describes this as the shadow of distraction, where storytelling becomes entertainment without substance or a way to avoid what feels too deep or too real. The voice wanders, but it doesn't land. Over time, something shifts. The crab learns that storytelling is a path toward bridge building. The gift of enrichment emerges here, where each memory becomes a thread of connection and each image carries a trace of truth. The story doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be sincere. When this gate is fully embodied, Gate 56, it becomes intoxication. It's kind of this enchantment or kind of immersion that awakens presence and invites wonder, being completely surrounded and fulfilled by the stories that we're in. Gate 56 completes the arc of Cancer season by lifting emotional experience into shared insight through storytelling with others and through travel. It allows the crab to travel with its home on its back, to carry its essence forward into the world. What began in stillness and in memory and in inner tides now finds voice, and through that voice it finds belonging as it edges into Leo season. The crab's legacy is about learning to move with the tides of feeling, to retreat when necessary, to be still when necessary, to move when necessary, to strike back when necessary, but to emerge with intention. In its evolutionary journey, Cancer guards what matters, guards what we care to nurture, imbued with deep memory of what others have forgotten. It's an ancestral lineage sign. It carries its home on its back with the promise that safety can be self-made and that love can be protection and that tenderness is a place where wisdom gestates. Next, the sun will move forward into the realm of Leo the lion, and we'll take with us the sideways and deep feeling path of the crab as we enter the lion's den. So thank you for listening. Those are the 6 human design gates of Cancer season in story form. Again, I just think it's such a beautiful way to learn about these different energies as we move through the seasons of the year. And as we're here in the solstice and the days are starting to get shorter and we're starting to think about what we need to protect, what we need to carry on our back as we head to that far off winter. It's about holding duality, holding complexity, and holding paradox in our hands, and recognizing that we can be on the inside of the shell and also emerge and be the storyteller on the outside. So I hope you got something from this story of human design of Cancer season. If it resonated with you, please feel free to share it. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. This is a Cycles of Time podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Cycles of Time podcast or astro.somatics. And I have a website where I have offerings, readings that contain information from all of these different systems as we look into your chart and see the seasonality of where the planets were when you were born. And you can find that at astrosomatics.com. I'm also on Substack at cyclesoftime.substack.com, where you can subscribe and get this podcast in your inbox every Monday. I do a weekly forecast. So I welcome you to join me, and I will see you again soon. Bye.